If you're watching this on Hubble, you were probably cheating on us with the state of origin and saw Ancestry spit out this.
What if you could turn back time to discover the people and places of your past? Your DNA could reveal an origin story that stretches beyond state lines. Discover your origin at ancestry.com.au.
Oh, well, better than other NRL DNA tests, which are usually done by police. All right, this cool guy showing off family photos during the footy. Are Origin and Ancestry too distantly related?
Oh, well, I hope it's more than beyond the word origin. Ancestry is a really interesting business. So they have managed to turn data, they managed to commercialize it and then commoditize genetic data. And they popularized it. It's a huge, massive business. In fact, so big that it's owned by an equity firm, a private equity firm. They paid something $4.7 billion to have it. And now they want a return. And to get a return, they have to either grow it or use the data in alternative ways. And it is worth remembering that a private equity firm does not take the Hippocratic Oath. They take the capitalist pledge. So they want to squeeze as much as they can out of it. And one of the best ways of doing that is to look where the most amount of eyeballs are. And in our case, some of the largest amount of eyeballs are around origin. And so they see it as an advertising vehicle to grow a market that they potentially hadn't reached before. It's a really interesting business.
The reality is, if you sponsor something that people really care about, you're just piggybacking on that care. You know, the care factor around state of origin's pretty significant. And then you can make it ad like that's a cheap piece of advertising. So the sponsorship itself would cost quite a lot of money. You're only going to run it during the origin. So it's not about absolute brand connection around Ancestry. It's just getting people straight away getting involved. I think that this will work and work brilliantly for them.
Yeah, I think it might actually be beyond origin itself as well. And for me, I felt it was almost surprisingly obvious when you look at like the emotional territory they're playing in. When it comes to sport, and I worked on NRL years ago for a while, but the type of community it has, you see the legacy and like, you know, your family line of I'm supporting this team because my parents, my grandparents and so supported this team. This is where I was from. And I think that feeling of like, it's because of my background, that's why I support this team, that emotional connection and that story, I think is so perfectly aligned with what you're trying to create with Ancestry. I know like the word origin obviously helps and it feels right on top. You're like, okay, that's the quick play. They went for that. But I genuinely think like outside of trying to grab this huge audience when you're looking at one of the top 2 like viewership sports for Australia, you probably have this person who's genuinely going to be like, yeah, it's important to me where I come from. That's clearly why I'm so embedded in this sport, to this team, so loyal. And I might actually take it up.
Well, I reckon that's better advertising. What you've just suggested. So the suggestion that you can create a really neat advertising story around who did Dad support, who did Grandpa support, who did Grandma, Auntie. Then there's you could have a lot of advertising fun around just creating a family tree off the back of who you support. That's really...
The ad you described is so much better than that ad.
It is.
Russell is excited about your idea.
Yeah, I am. It's way better.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, oh, I mean, that's nonsense, but this I buy. Because for me, I do think I watched the spot and I was like, oh my goodness, other than a play for eyeballs, I did think in the Venn diagram of like genealogy geeks and rugby fanatics, you wouldn't expect there's a huge overlap, but you've actually convinced me otherwise.
There you go.
But is no one concerned that they own, it's transferable, sub-licensed, they own it worldwide, perpetually for the rest of your life, your DNA data?
We're in advertising time.
No, literally, I've been collecting your DNA from your dressing room for 16 seasons, and when you die, I'm going to build a super Todd.
Yeah.
As soon as I can get an AI in a T-shirt. It's all about eyeballs, which is why I support the nuclear plan. More eyeballs on all children.